Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that?
Mashallah, brother.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Rais. As you know, I discuss the Muslim marriage market, polygamy, gender dynamics, and I especially look at the Western dynamic with regards to these types of issues and discussions. So in this one, I will be looking at a channel by the name of Alan Kermay, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Small channel, 286 subscribers. And the title here indicates I'm 45, never married, never engaged, and don't have kids. Can you trust me? Okay, around 15K views for this. Not much, but worth a watch. Let's check it out.
I am a 45-year-old man, very soon to be 46. Never married, never engaged, never had kids. Can you trust me? Now, that's the question I'm going to be answering because I'm in the position to answer it as to... So I've recently, 10 months ago, I met someone who I'm very much in love with. And I foresaw that person either having the question or being questioned, as in, can you trust him? He's never committed to anyone? Is he, what's he going to do? Does he sleep around? Does he just want to sow his oats? He's 45. Why is he never committed? Well, look, and you're not going to get a satisfying answer, I don't think, because, well, for every one of us that's in this position, I'm sure the story is probably different. There's probably no one trait. But all the reasons you're asking this question are probably out there too. Can they be trusted? Some probably not. Are they commitment phobes? Some probably are. Do some just want to continue to sleep around? Probably. That's people. Can you trust, in this specific instance, someone like me who, for whatever reason, finds himself unmarried, no kids? Was I ever dead set against marriage? You know what? I used to say I'll never get married, probably because I just thought it was a bit rebellious. Truth be told, I really thought I would. And hey, I still might. And do I want kids? Well, the answer was never a hard and fast no either. It was like, well, I don't want to rule it out, but I'm also not like crazy about it. Now, I think for me, it was just that I didn't have a strong pull in the direction of making a major decision. So don't do it. I'm sure some of it's down to my bad choices, getting into some relationships for the wrong reasons. Just being incompatible. But it's such a driving force to kind of feel like you get married. You kind of stay in relationships probably longer than you should because you're thinking at any point now, I'll mature and want to get married. Well,
look, let me just say that I think with a lot of Western men, and women actually, there is no real force or pressure to get married, and especially young. In fact, I think the Western dynamic of things is where young people are told to delay marriage. First, just get an education, settle down in a type of work, gain experience, establish a type of career, and then perhaps get married. Maybe you'll find someone along the way, and you can date the person, and then if it's the right match, right fit, then Bob's your uncle, you get married. Now, within the Muslim community, the Islamic community, it's kind of like not the same. Although there is this idea that's within the culture, I think that's creeping into the culture, where we are looking at things and be like, let's delay it a bit. We have time. We can see how things go, and once we are more established, let's say, then we can go and get married. But I find issue with this, and I mean, this is, as the guy here is indicating, is that the longer we delay marriage, the more difficult it's going to get married, right? And why is this so? Well, I think simply because as time goes on, we tend to settle in our ways and our methods and our lifestyles. We perhaps don't want to alter it too much. We don't want to change it too much. We expect that when we do meet someone, that this person should hop on board to our lifestyles or mold onto our lifestyles, right? And I think this is kind of dangerous, where it gets to a point where the marriage is delayed to an extent where, like in this case, this guy is 45 years old, which is extremely late, And I guess you'll get some people would ask me like, how is this late 45? It's okay, we're in the modern age. But I think even just before this, like around late 30s even, people get men get these epiphanies and be like, but I need to leave a legacy out there. I have this innate want for a family, to look after a family, to enjoy the company of people who I love, perhaps that are not my parents. I mean, they've looked after me all my life as a young person. And now I feel the need to do the same for a follow-up generation. They get this idea way after when they've experienced all that they could in their uh, early late 20s, early 30s, and then everything's dried up. I've experienced everything, and now I need to have this type of lifestyle for myself, a family-based lifestyle. And I'd say 45 is late because I mean your kids. How old are you expecting your kids to be when when you are in your retirement age? I mean they'll be at. I mean, if let's say we're having kids at around 45, men, and just by the way, men have a lower life expectancy than our female counterparts, right? So you're really playing around with fire, I think, if it is that you expect to see your kids get married and have grandkids on top of that, I mean, if your kids are going to even stop the cycle, will they continue in your footsteps, marrying late? Then, I mean, you shouldn't expect any grandkids. So, I mean, these are, I think I'm going on a tangent here, but these are the things that, this is why we have this push for Islamically and traditionally, we have this push for early marriage.
That doesn't work that way. You've got to find someone that you're actually compatible with, but you have to know yourself in order to find that. And for some people, that takes longer. And maybe that's the key for me, because I generally feel like I found the person. But it wasn't until I was comfortable with who I am and that I put myself out there and I was okay with what I liked, what I didn't like, what I was prepared to put up with, what I'm not prepared to put up with. When you get to that place, I think you're better prepared to filter and find the right person. And I guess some people get there a lot quicker. Maybe some people get lucky. Maybe some people just stick it through, because, well, you stay married, you fight it through. It's all about compromise. Well, partly probably about compromise, not fully about compromise. Are you happy? So kind of getting off the topic a little bit, can you trust me? Well, look at it this way. I was single during points of my 20s and 30s. Would you have trusted me then? Am I less trustful now? I'm in my 40s. Are there people that got married previously that are untrustworthy? Yep. Are there murderers that have got married? And also so my girlfriend at the time, I think, was questioned by someone on this very topic. It's like, oh, he's never been married. What would you make of that? And I guess my direct response at that point, my literal response was, well, people are always going to query it. But what if I had been married and I'd left my ex-wife? What questions would that pose? I still wouldn't be trustworthy. Surely. That's worse, is it not? I think people just want certainty. They want certainty that it's going to work out okay, or they won't get hurt. Well, you're not going to get that. You've just got to know what it is you want, put yourself out there, be comfortable with yourself, find someone compatible, which is basically values. Do they value the same things as you? Do they value being healthy? Do they value getting outside in nature rather than sitting down in front of the TV? Do they value a tidy house? Do you? If they're slobs and you like everything spick and span, well, it's going to cause arguments. You need to find this stuff out. And it doesn't mean you go out on a first date and just kind of like dissect them. First off, do you like them?
Oh, yeah, look, and this is quite the argument put forth against marrying early, right? Or against the traditional means of courtship, which is to, not engage in relationships before marriage, and rather just go head first and marry the person, right? But I will argue that, again, the more you're going to delay being married, the more difficult it's going to be. You're going to set a certain tone. You're going to set yourself a certain lifestyle. And it's almost never the case that, or hardly the case, that once you have a certain lifestyle and your partner have a certain lifestyle, it's going to kind of like mix quite well, right? I don't think it does, right? Whereas in the traditional sense, the Islamic realm of things also, this idea of getting married early gives the couple this taste of responsibility earlier on, making it work, because marriage is more of a responsibility and a rights type basis between the couple, right? So the man has certain rights and responsibilities, and the woman have rights and responsibilities for each other, for and to each other. So there are roles to play, and because of that, it's more of a case where they would want to make things work, and because they are young, they would that's you could say it's a methodology of that's all they know, right? Let's say 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, very young ages, right? And they are married and they live life up until, I don't know, uh, by the time they are 30. By the time they are 30, they've adjusted to life by living with each other, being with each other, knowing each other, that's all they know, right? And they are forced to make things work. The other thing is that with, this Western dynamic is, I call it this Hollywood Disney fairy tale idea of quote unquote happiness, right? And I don't think in a traditional sense there is this idea of happiness. The main aim of marriage is to protect one's sexuality, to not be frivolent and exposing yourself out there with various types of people, but rather to hone down your sexuality with a particular person and share that intimately, right? And from that, children come about, and with children, there's obviously that responsibility to look after them, to care for them, to raise them to be, functioning good people in society. And so, the family unit, this structure, is conducive to a community, a society, to the human experience on a broad scale. It's the basis of it, and this has been working for centuries, millennia, right? And I think the modern era now obviously is kind of like disrupting it, right? It's toying with it, where we have cases like this, like the guy here who has this type of freedom to. I mean, of course, let's say in the past, I don't know, centuries ago, there probably would have been a 45-year-old guy, never married, never had kids, and so on. But I mean, I think the general idea, or let's say the status of this guy, would be somewhat of a perhaps he's weird or loner, or he's like, not functioning well in society. He's perhaps a bit on the edges, right? And so I think it's a healthy thing that there is that type of stigma, so that it encourages people to get married and continue the line, the generational lines for various societies in the world. But unfortunately, we are in the modern era, and it seems that things are getting a bit tough out there, especially for the West.
You fancy them? It's a big one. It matters. You just if you're here asking a question of, can I trust a man in his 40s that's never been married, engaged, or got kids? Well, just ask, can you trust anyone ever with anything? There's no one answer. So I hope that's helped. Anyone looking for an answer? Maybe not. I'm sure you came here looking for some kind of certainty, but I'd be happy to ask any questions. Maybe I've not touched on, you've got a different view on things. If you've got a question, I'll specifically make a video to answer that question about whether you can, trust a male who's in his 40s, who's never done the socially acceptable things that you feel pressured into doing.
Yeah, all the videos on its end. But again, as I mentioned before, what is the difference between the modern dynamic and, let's say, the old world dynamic, on how society feels and sees a 45-year-old man, never married, never engaged, never had kids? What stigma would society put on this individual? And again, I say the old school would have perhaps shunned him, or made it appear to him that there's something wrong with him. Whereas in today's society, it would have been, oh no, it's quite normal. But on the objective scale of things, what is better? What is better for humanity? What is better for his community? What is better for his generational line? And I can tell you, and it's quite a thing going on in social media, for instance, where white European men are complaining about the fact that they are going extinct, right? They're going extinct simply because of things like this, and also because of the women folk that are, are becoming more incompatible with them because of this feminist movement, right? The women have, and I mean, not only their women, I think women of all kinds, right, are lapping up this feminist idea, which kind of give them this incompatibility with men. You know, they basically competing with men rather than molding onto or like, you know, it's like a puzzle. Men and women being stuck to each other like a puzzle, or being compatible with each other like a puzzle, but it seems not so due to this feminist movement or feminist ideas, right? So yeah, it doesn't seem too good for the Western man. And in terms of this guy here, look, it seems that he had this type of epiphany. He's come to realize, or he's beginning to, or he has been realizing for a while that I think the single life, especially at his age, simply don't work. It's not fulfilling enough. He would need a family unit. He would want to see kids, you know. So yeah, I'm not sure what the status is now. I just came across his video and channel right now. So let's hope that he has found someone, and had gotten some type of progress with his life. I just wanted to go into the comment section. Okay, so I see here that there is some other people's experiences here in the comment section. I think he gets a lot of compliments because he he doesn't look like he's in his 40s, and I don't think, he doesn't look like he's in his 40s. He has quite a young face. He could make it for maybe mid to late 30s. So well done on him. He's looking after his health, I guess. But yeah, it seems like everyone is throwing in their 2 cents with regards to their experiences and life stories almost. But anyway, thank you, shukran, jazakallah, for watching this video. Please consider a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to keep up with my uploads. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. As many of you who follow my channel already know, I have multiple wives. Naturally, this means I often get approached by brothers and sometimes even sisters asking me about polygamy. More specifically, Islamic polygyny, which basically mean a Muslim man marrying multiple women. I get all sorts of questions like what does polygyny entail, how to go about it, and how to maintain it in a balanced and sincere manner. So if you're genuinely interested in this topic and would like to explore this realm of things a bit further, please feel free to reach out to me on Telegram or email me. The links are in the description below. For a limited time, I'm offering free private consultation and discussion sessions. So inshallah, don't miss out on this opportunity. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum.